LSU on paper has filled, keyword on paper, filled every single need that they needed to coming into 2025. Like anywhere you thought they had a weakness, they went out and got somebody for it. Does it mean it's going to work? No, but for the first time under Brian Kelly, in terms of NIL spending, in terms of the budget, in terms of what you wanted to go after, the fans can't say, well, you didn't go after and get it, so why did you expect it to happen? They have young guys that are talented, but they also kind of say, we're going to push some veterans in those spots. The pass rush, the biggest thing. They had 2 pass rushers selected last month in the draft. They went and got Patrick Payton, went and got Jack Pyburn, like you talked about. They went and got Jamari Butler out of the Big Ten. So there's life on this roster. Harold Perkins should be coming back. Whit Week's going to come back after that gruesome injury in the bowl game. And then, there's this whole concept that a lot of people love, and I've not really had a hard stance on it one way or the other, that Garrett Nussmeier might be the top quarterback in the country for a lot of people in terms of NFL prospects. The run game at LSU has to be better. The run game has to be better. My hot take, I was on the radio the other night in Atlanta. Shout out Garrett Chapman on 92.9. He asked me my hot take for 2025 for LSU. I said, I think that the Tigers will get an 1,000-yard rusher. The last time they had that was 2021, I believe. Caden Durham has that type of ability. Offensive line, they got to replace 4 or 5 starters. Much like you talked about, Will, they dipped into that Virginia Tech offensive line to go get Braylon Moore, their center. The thing about LSU for me, though, it comes down to really 2 things. Is the floor of the defense high enough? I don't care what the ceiling is, but is the floor of the defense, did it improve enough to where you feel comfortable in year 2 under Blake Baker? And then the second part, and Gavin makes the joke right here, Nuss statue, is the decisiveness of Garrett Nussmeier in year 2. Does it follow along the lines of the year 2 development of Joe Burrow and Jane Daniels, or is he just going to be another guy? Because there's a lot of pressure down here, this whole idea that in year 2, recently, you take this massive leap. Like, you win the Heisman Trophy. You have a championship-level offense. That's the pressure that's on Garrett Nussmeier here in year 2. So that's the 2 key factors. That being said, when you look at this schedule, yes, there's an interesting way to go about this, Will, and I'll kind of open it up to you here because I think that with LSU, you have this feeling that if you win in week 1, literally anything is possible. If you go to Clemson and you beat them in week 1, I'll be real with you, you are probably a top 3 team in the next week's polls, and you're one of the odds-on favorites per whatever betting service. You're in the top 3 or 4 to win the national title. That's where the hype is going to go if they win that week 1. Anything is possible. If you lose it, that's where this 8.5 gets tricky for me because then it just opens up a whole door of plethora of opportunities. I will say the check hasn't cashed. I'm taking the over. I'm taking 9 wins. I'm going 9-3. LSU is the floor, or is like more the safe bet right now. I think they could get to 10-2. A lot of things outlined there. You can kind of take it wherever you want to go. But to me, those are the 2 key factors. Defensive floor, how high is it? Nussmeier is a decisive decision maker. Is going to help open a lot of things and really the run game. But that week 1 game, man, is everything. Like Brian Kelly has not won one of these since he's gotten down here. And this is probably, I don't know if this is a hot take, this could turn out to be the best week 1 opponent they've faced. I know that 2023 Florida State team turned out to be really, really good. This Clemson team, we'll talk about it on Wednesday, really, really good too. But I don't know, man, that's where I sit with it. I know I'm the paid figurehead to talk about this, hoping for the bonus. I'm hoping for that extension, my guy. So that's what we're rolling with there. But no, your thoughts on it?
I agree with you. But I don't think that's saying much. You're the LSU source. You're the person that gives me all my info on LSU. So just kind of blindly follow you. Looking at this schedule, I think 10 wins, certainly the ceiling. Maybe even 11 wins. But I worry about this LSU offense because, same quarterback. So you think, probably more of the same offensively, but you keep the same quarterback. Like you said, replacing 4 or 5 offensive linemen, that's always a tall task. But felt at times last year that this offense was pretty erratic. Maybe Garrett Nussmeier at times maybe trying to do too much.
Yeah.
How does he mature as the quarterback in 2025? Where does he improve? If it's decision-making, you're probably looking at 9 or 10 wins. I'm taking the over because I'm seeing 9-3, possibly 10-2, maybe even mess around and win 11 games. And I'm opposite of you. I think that week 1 game against Clemson, I don't see them winning it because I
Yeah.
think Clemson's that good, and we'll talk about that on Wednesday. But man, you talk about some of the additions they made. I love what they did in the secondary. We talked all year long about just how just it makes you want
Brutal to
to
watch.
bang your head against the wall watching LSU secondary. They go get Mansour Delane for Virginia Tech. They go get Jakeem Jackson at Florida. Both those guys are going to play corner. The controversial, some may say, AJ Halsey coming from Houston play safety. Tamarcus Cooley playing safety at coming from NC State. I think those could be 4 starters. I think starting caliber players in the secondary. Secondary should be much improved. We already talked about edge rush. We talked about Pyburn coming from Florida. Bernard Gooden from South Florida, I think, is a sneaky one on the defensive line. A guy that could really be a game wrecker up front for LSU. But LSU certainly has the potential to be a ton of fun.
Yeah.
In 2025. And, again, it's on the shoulders of the quarterback. I think it may just be a maturity thing for Nussmeier because I definitely think the talent is there, but can he play within himself? I think is what you're looking for in 2025.
If he does, man, like I've told people financially with what they've done with this roster in terms of spending with buying, like I don't think, and I told us last week that Brian Kelly is going to get fired if they go 8 or 9 wins. That would be it'd be a hefty amount to pay for that. But what I do think is that this is an all-in type of year. Like you literally have Garrett Nussmeier coming back, and next year you're going to have to reset some things. We talked about all those additions that you just talked about. Those are veteran guys. It's essentially like a 1-year flyer deal in the NBA. Let's go chase a ring with the core we have. And so, man, I never thought we'd be talking about college football like the NBA free agency, 1-year vet minimum deals. And I'll tell you one thing: these were not 1-year vet minimum deals that these guys got. That's for sure. So,